Timeskip Boruto is one of the strongest characters in the entire franchise. This stemmed from his training with Sasuke over the past 3 years, along with learning abilities from a future version of himself through Koji's ability called prescience. This allowed him to attain god levels of power in a short period of time, which is very on brand when it comes to a shonen protagonist. With that said, the abilities he possesses also contributes to his greatness, which is why I'm making this video. So today I'll be explaining every ability Boruto has ever used over the course of this entire series. That way you guys can be a bit more informed when it comes to what he's truly capable of. Now with that being said, let's start with the staples such as the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Now this jutsu might seem basic at face value since it kinda is, but it's also very useful and difficult to maintain if you choose to use more than one. By the way, this might become more prominent later on in the manga when Boruto starts using it to extend his usage of Rasengan Uzuhiko, but we'll get to that part soon. Now Boruto was able to use up to 4 clones at a very young age and has since learned to make up to 12 clones at the same time per the anime continuity. Now this feat is pretty insane for a child his age since the multi-shadow clone jutsu evenly distributes your chakra to every single clone, which can lead to the death of the user if they don't have enough chakra to maintain such a process. The good thing is that the chakra given to the clone is then returned to the user upon the clone being destroyed. Then you also have the added benefit of outnumbering your opponent in battle, which of course gives Boruto a strategic advantage. Now at number 2 we have the Gentle Fist. This technique is pretty much a form of hand-to-hand combat used by the members of the Hyuga clan. It allows them to inflict damage through attacking the body's chakra pathway system, which in turn injures the organs that are closely intertwined with the area of the network that has been struck. This is done by the user injecting a certain amount of their chakra into the victim's body, which causes severe damage even with the slightest tap. Now this technique can be enhanced by employing the benefits of the Byakugan, which allows the user to see the opponent's precise chakra points. Attacking these points increases the damage done to the opponent and can also lead to them no longer being able to need chakra, thus not having the ability to perform ninjutsu temporarily. Now Boruto does have access to the most basic form of this technique since he doesn't have a Byakugan, thus not being able to see the opponent's chakra points. However, this does depend on the version of Boruto we're using, since Boruto now has access to Momoshiki's Byakugan and is confirmed to be able to see chakra points using his Jogan, so we'll see how that plays out. Now coming in at number 3 we have the Rasengan, which in its simplest form is just a spinning ball of pure chakra, not wind release, which is a big misconception. Now this spinning ball or rotation adds to the insane power of the technique itself, confirmed to be superior to Sasuke's Chidori that was accidentally created by Kakashi after failing to perform the Rasengan itself. However, not only was Boruto able to perform the technique within a few days of training, he also subconsciously added lightning release to the technique as well. This change in chakra nature made it so that the Rasengan appeared invisible until the point of contact. So not only is his normal Rasengan stronger due to being infused with lightning release, it's also undetectable by opponents such as Fused Momoshiki, who possess 2 golden Byakugans and multiple Renegans. The Delta was able to seize Rasengan using scientific ninja tools, so it's not impossible for this not to be a problem for some villains in the future of the franchise. With that said, Boruto is shown to be able to perform the wind style Rasengan in the anime continuity. This Rasengan is superior in power to the regular Rasengan and also the lightning release Rasengan, since wind itself is superior to lightning in the Naruto universe. This jutsu also comes with the added benefit of attacking the opponent at a cellular level, thus bypassing their natural durability. Now while Boruto does have access to this technique in the anime continuity, he hasn't fully mastered it and it likely won't be featured in the manga anytime soon. But we could depend on seeing is Boruto's high compression Rasengan, which is pretty much a regular Rasengan that's condensed and compressed to its limit. In this state, it can penetrate targets with little resistance or knock them unconscious if they possess a powerful defense. Now I say this is more likely to be shown post time skip since Momoshiki used a version of the technique called Rasendan, which in a sense is just an highly compressed Rasengan, similar to Naruto's mini Rasen Shuriken. So it being present in the manga, along with Boruto using his compression Rasengan in his fight versus Ishiki Otsutsuki, shows that they are somewhat interested in crossing it over to the manga continuity as well.
All of you are going to the same place.
Now we also have Renganuzo Uzuhiko, which I've already explained a few times on this channel, so if you guys have watched those videos before, just skip ahead to the next ability. With that said, this Rasengan doesn't just use chakra as we know it, and it doesn't use nature energy. In fact, it uses a new type of energy that was recently introduced. For this to make sense, let's go to page 11 of chapter 12, where Boruto goes on to state that Uzuhiko uses the energy of centrifugal force that accompanies a planet's rotation and orbit. He then goes on to say that he calls it a planet's chakra, but it's really just a Rasengan that utilizes that energy. So the key detail to take from this is Boruto saying that he calls it a planet's chakra, but what it actually utilizes is the energy of centrifugal force. So as confirmed in the official Boruto databooks, the ability is listed as ninjutsu instead of senjutsu. It also went on to say that Boruto refers to the planetary energy used by Uzuhiko as a planet's chakra, but this is not the same as nature energy used by ninjas such as Naruto and Mitsuki when they enter Sage Mode. So the ability uses what's called the planet's chakra, but it's not the same as nature energy, which the planet also generates. So this secondary energy of sort is referred to as the energy of centrifugal force. Now it's not a real force per se, but rather a result of inertia, which is the tendency of objects to resist changes in their state of motion. This force appears because your body wants to keep moving in a straight line, but the rotation of, let's say, a merry-go-round pulls you into a circular path. So centrifugal force itself doesn't have energy, but objects moving in a circular path have kinetic energy due to their motion. So what this simply means is that Boruto's new Rasengan is powered by the kinetic energy the planet generates by simply rotating on its axis, which is why it mentions the planet's rotation and orbit. Now what's even crazier is that Boruto claims that there's absolutely no limit to the power of Uzuhiko. This of course goes back to Boruto telling Code that the power rushing through his body will never dissipate, just like how a planet will never stop spinning. This exact logic is what makes the power of Uzuhiko limitless. So in the simplest terms, since the planet itself will never stop spinning, it will never stop generating more power for Boruto to absorb, which then makes it an unlimited source of energy, which then makes the power of Uzuhiko limitless. Now of course you could also argue that one could simply stop the planet from spinning, which negates all of this, but as I've said before, Uzuhiko would be the least of anyone's worries if that does happen. By the way, the chapter also introduced the first con of the ability, which is that Boruto needs to take in that energy through both feet, so he has to be directly standing on the ground. This means that one could simply attack him or force him to remove that connection, thus preventing him from ever being able to charge the ability. Though as I mentioned before, this can easily be circumvented if Boruto incorporates the Shadow Clone Jutsu and have them charge the ability instead. Now this isn't the full extent of the ability because we see that Code was able to bypass the flares of the technique and hold on to Boruto's right hand. This simply means that the ability itself doesn't deflect attacks, nor does it protect Boruto's body from damage. However, just a few pages after this one, Code is having trouble landing hits on Boruto. No matter what he did, no matter how many times he attacked, he just couldn't make contact. Code then said to himself that Boruto's movements are way beyond simple dodging, nor is it genjutsu or doppelgangers. So what happened? You see, a lot of people fail to realize this, but even before Boruto fully landed the Rasengan, he already imparted the effects of the technique onto Code. This happened on page 8 when the Rasengan started to coil around Code's hand, thus transferring to his entire body. Boruto himself confirmed this by saying that killing you is easy. In fact, I'm already halfway there. This simply means that Code got a partial dose of the technique at this point in the fight, which also explains why I didn't start feeling the full effect of the technique until Boruto landed a direct hit. Now this all goes back to the effects of planetary spin, one such being the Coriolis effect. You guys can learn more about this in my video on Rasengan Uzuhiko because it kinda gets into the science weeds a bit, which can be a bit boring. So what you need to know is that the only reason why we don't perceive the rotation of the planet is because we're coupled with the Earth's surface, thus moving at the same constant speed. Boruto found a way to remove that connection, which causes Code to feel the full effects of the Earth's rotation. This is also confirmed in the database where it stated that in addition to the damage a standard Rasengan causes, it destroys the target's sense of balance, thus debilitating them. Now there is a way for someone to possibly hit Boruto even while under the effects of Coriolis, which would be by them simply aiming more to the left rather than directly at Boruto. It's similar to how you'd adjust for recoil when firing a gun. Now some believe that Boruto continued to dodge Code by spamming Flying Thunder God, which is also possible, I guess. So as you can see, Uzuhiko is just an overpowered ability which allows Boruto to make use of the planet's kinetic energy. This then gives him access to the limitless energy the planet generates, which can be used to destroy his opponents or inflict psychological damage. So yeah, it's pretty busted. Now coming in at number 4, we have Flying Raijin or Flying Thunder God, which pretty much affords the user the usage of instantaneous movement. Firstly, the jutsu itself is actually pretty simple in use. All the user really has to do is place a seal or marking for the technique on any solid surface, and they will be able to teleport to that location no matter the distance. By the way, when I say any solid surface, I mean any solid surface. So that can be the ground, rocks, trees, and even someone's skin. What makes it even more overpowered is that the marking never disappears even if the person who places it dies. This was seen when Minato was able to use the seal he placed on Obito during a battle with the Nine Tails over 16 years later after being resurrected. Though the seal was removed by Obito becoming the 10 Tails Jinchuriki, so there's technically a way to do it. Now it does have other uses as well, which involves teleporting individuals to a marked location without you yourself needing to travel with them, along with being able to teleport entire attacks, as seen when Minato teleported the Biju bomb fired by the Nine Tails. Now another insane feat would be when Minato was able to teleport the entire Shinobi Alliance during the war, which was done by connecting his chakra to Naruto's, who had given his chakra to the members of the Shinobi Alliance. Now the ability itself does seem to require a lot of chakra. This was confirmed when 3 elite Jonins could only perform the technique by using a certain formation and combining their chakras together. Though it does seem to be kind of a skill issue, meaning that if you're less skilled, the jutsu takes more chakra. I said because Minato was able to spam the technique relentlessly both prior to and after his death, and so did Tobirama. Now you could say that it just had immense amounts of chakra, but the difference between how they used it in comparison to everyone else makes that less likely to me. It makes more sense that skill is the main factor behind the chakra consumption. That said, Boruto seemingly pulled off the jutsu multiple times within the last few chapters. First when he instantly appeared stomping on Code's face, later when he teleported behind Code in chapter 3, and also when he teleported to the 10 Tails dimension. He also spammed it in the fight versus Mitsuki a few times, used it to save Sarada and Himawari, and then in the battle versus Hidari. So he's not only able to teleport to different locations on the same Earth, you can also teleport to different dimensions, as long as the seal is present. By the way, the seal Boruto used to teleport to the 10 Tails dimension was on a leaf ornament the Toad had in his possession, which means that this is how Boruto transports his pre-made seals. Now it also seemed like he could have used the ability without hand seals, since it wasn't shown when he did it versus Code, and also when he evaded the bug Shinju. But the most likely case is that it just wasn't shown on panel. That makes the most sense, since the other times we've seen him use it, it does require at least a one-handed seal. Lastly, there's no limit to how many seals you can place, and you can also use the seals created by other Flying Raijin users.
Encounter me with my top speed.
Now coming in at number 5, we have summoning techniques. Now these only exist in the anime continuity, but Boruto was shown to be able to summon Nue in the early academy before it was revealed that Sumire could manipulate the beast. This one is quite interesting since Nue is stated to have roots with the Otsutsuki, but more so with Kaguya specifically. So there might be more to this than the story is letting on at this point in time, but we'll have to just wait and see. Now in addition to this, Boruto also joined a temporary summoning contract with a powerful snake from the Ryuchi cave called Garaga in the anime as well. This one is less likely to make it into the manga due to it being temporary, but it's still possible. Now at number 6 we have sealing jutsus. This one flew under my radar for a very long time, but Boruto is able to perform basic sealing jutsus to keep someone from moving. This is also anime only, but it is possible that we might see it in the manga as well. Now at number 7 we have Kenjutsu, which pertains to techniques that entails the usage of swords. This was actually shown in the first episode of Boruto, which depicts him using a katana in his battle versus Kawaki, which we then also saw in the actual time skip. We also have a much younger Boruto being proficient at using a chakra blade, which mimics the usage of an actual katana, along with being able to use the other half of Chojiro's sword during the Hidden Mist arc. So it was pretty much foreshadowed and paid off when Boruto returned 3 years later. Now coming in at number 8 we have Lightning Release Thunderclap Arrow. Now this technique pretty much allows the user to mold and shape lightning nature chakra. This allows them to then throw the lightning at their opponent as a projectile based attack. Boruto is very skilled at this technique since he's also able to combine it with water release to electrocute his opponents on contact, along with being able to coat his shurikens in lightning style and then hurl them at his opponents. Now Boruto also has other lightning based techniques such as Purple Lightning, which is a variant of Chidori, which doesn't require the usage of enhanced ocular powers. He's also able to use a variant of Chidori Stream as well, which can be used to paralyze your opponents, but it hasn't been confirmed whether he's using Chidori or Purple Lightning in this instance. Now at number 9 we have Wind Release Gale Palm. This wind based technique pretty much allows the user to increase their velocity using air pressure, thus increasing their overall speed. It also allows the user to, well, use a powerful attack by clasping their hands together and compressing wind in that area. Boruto is also able to apply this to his tools as well, similar to lightning release. Now there is another similar technique called Boruto Strip. This pretty much does what Gale Palm does as well, but to a greater degree. So instead of using the technique himself, he employs the help of his teammates or shadow clones to propel himself forward at high speeds. This can also be used to increase the speed of his allies as well, so it's a very versatile technique. You also have another variant of this technique called Wind Style Breakthrough, which Boruto used against Hidari in chapter 12. This pretty much does the same thing as Gale Palm, but it's implied to be stronger. Now at number 10 we have the Water Bullet technique, which is a highly versatile technique with many variations. Now the ability itself is actually very simple, to be honest. So how it works is that after kneading chakra in their stomach, the user expels a large quantity of water in the form of a powerful torrent aimed towards the intended target. The ability is used a lot by Boruto, especially in the anime, so we can expect to see this ability post time skip as well. Now at number 11 we have the Karma Seal. This one is very special since in addition to providing Boruto with increased strength, speed, durability, and an insane healing factor, it also provides him with additional abilities, such as the ability to absorb all chakra based attacks and the ability to use space-time ninjutsu. There's also a new level to using the Karma Seal's power, which is dubbed as its True Essence form. This of course increases every single attribute provided by the first stage of the Karma Seal, which is mostly due to Boruto tapping into the battle experience of Momoshiki per code statement. The form also comes with the bonus of having Momoshiki's Byakugan, which will of course increase Boruto's lethality when it comes to using the Gentle Fist, as I mentioned before. By the way, the Byakugan also comes with the ability to see the future, which Boruto might be able to wield at some point in time. Now we also have Boruto's Otsutsuki form, dubbed as Borushiki from fans. This is still Boruto using the Karma Seal's power for the most part, but Momoshiki is in control of his movements, not Boruto. So he moves different, fights different, talks different, and has a completely different level of power when compared to Boruto using the first two stages of the Karma Seal. So as you can see, the ability itself or the mechanic is a bit overpowered. Now at number 12 we have the ability to fly, which, I mean, gives him the ability to fly. I don't know, there's nothing to explain. Okay, so Boruto gained the ability to fly by being Otsutsukified with Momoshiki's data, and he has shown the ability multiple times in Tulu Vortex. So yeah, it's a cool ability to have. It does give him advantage when it comes to fights in certain environments, so it is valuable in some sense. Now at number 13 we have the Jogan itself. Now this dojutsu is very controversial since it's still debated as to whether it's canon or not, or if it's in the manga. I for one believe that Boruto will awaken the Jogan at some point post time skip, and if you guys want to know why, watch my video on Boruto becoming one with Momoshiki. That also goes in depth on the similarities between Boruto and the Matrix trilogy. So yeah, you guys can go watch that video. But yeah, this dojutsu pretty much allows him to see the chakra pathway system, see dimensional rifts, see across dimensions, and hear what the person is saying on the other side, and also allows him to travel across dimensions. So it kinda replicates some of the abilities of the Karma Seal and also some of the abilities of the Byakugan. So we'll see how that plays out and see how it's incorporated later on in the series. With that said, those are all the abilities I know of Boruto, but if I missed anything, you guys can let me know in the comment section. I'm sure you guys will anyways, and then we can discuss them. Also, if you guys want to join the Discord, the link will be pinned in the comment section as per usual. And with that said guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.